Hello friends, Wildly of Wild Fempire here with your emotional and energetic reading for this week in September that begins with September 11th, 2023. We have the dark moon coming up later this week. We are really entering that time, the balsamic moon, the days prior to the dark moon. So you might be noticing your energy starting to come a little more inward. You might be feeling a need for a little bit more rest or just a natural desire to review your life a little bit, to take notice of how your decisions have played out over the last month. And if that is so, I highly encourage you to keep following that thread. Keep following what you are naturally being invited into. This is part of the pleasure of really beginning to tune into the moon and beginning to weave your life into a lunar way of living. You might notice in my language, I refer to things as a month instead of a month. I do this on purpose to help reset my mindset, to reset my language and the spells that I am writing with my words by helping myself to unplug from the matrix that we're all a part of and start allowing myself to really think and behave in a lunar based way, as in thinking about time and thinking about how life moves from this place of watching the moon, watching how she ebbs and flows. And when I truly am able to connect to the moon, she then reflects back to me the cycles of this planet, of Earth. And then I also really begin to tune into how the wheel of the year moves. I begin to feel more connected with the shifts that occur during the equinoxes and the solstices as we are ebbing and flowing between summer and winter, right? So I just name all of those things because we are on this moon day getting ready to head into the next dark moon, which begins a brand new month, a brand new moon cycle. And that is different from the paper calendar that we have been trained to use. It's actually real time, as in the time that is happening right now around us in the environment, and has nothing to do with our phones, has nothing to do with our calendars or the watches on our wrists, but it's actually the ebb and flow of life force energy in a month, in a day, in a season. And it's a different way of interacting with the movement of time. And the message for us this week comes with the Two of Swords, which is interesting because last week we got the Ace of Swords. So the cards are moving in a rhythm that always catches my eye. And the two here is all about making choices. So last week we were reviewing what came up in the month of August, what really wanted our attention, and we took some action on it. And now this week, we're asked to make some clear choices and to let some things go with this dark moon. The dark moon is all about digesting, composting, releasing, getting clarity, and then redirecting or reorienting our journey into the next cycle, into the next month. So this Two of Swords says, what did we experience? What consequences, good and bad, occurred when we took action last week? What data has come up and come forward for us? And now that we have that data, what's the next step in our strategy? What's the next step in our map, in our movement for this month? What do I need to let go of? Last week we talked about if you need to take the Ace of Swords action in a relationship. That might mean having some difficult conversations about boundaries or about needs. Well, maybe you had that conversation and now you have new information, and that new information says to you, okay, this relationship isn't working for me, so now I need to let it go. Or, okay, this relationship has potential, but we're still having difficulties in communicating. Maybe it's time for me to find a couples counselor or a therapist that can help us learn how to understand each other. Those are just some basic possibilities. Point being, whatever occurs in an ACE, when we start a cycle, we gather information, it naturally evolves into the two. Because once you start seeing things, once you start getting information, you can't unsee it. And so it often leads to a choice. It leads to an opportunity to make movement or momentum occur through our choices, through our yes and our no. And so this week, as we enter dark moon, is all about our yes and our no. What are you saying yes to this moon cycle? What are you saying no to? What are you calling in, particularly in this really blessed moon cycle that holds the autumn equinox? The autumn equinox is such a glorious time. It, if you are here in the northern hemisphere, represents the time of we're harvesting, or we have completed harvest, and it's time to slowly begin putting the garden to rest. It's time to begin preparing our homes, preparing the land as we are now slowly moving our way towards winter. It's time to patch things. It's time to make preparations. It's time to take the things we've harvested and make it so that they will last through the winter. And this holds true for everything, not just our physical needs, right? It's not just about canning food. It's also about preparing ourselves for the winter, preparing ourselves for going deep. What do we need to support our mental health? What do we need to support our relationships, our family? What do we need to support our passion projects or our work, what we really care about in this world? It's not going to happen on its own. I can tell you this as an entrepreneur, as someone who runs her own business. My business isn't going to happen on its own. Even if I don't prefer making the choices, even if I don't prefer setting aside time and mental bandwidth, if I don't, the momentum doesn't come. If there is not that pulling inward and taking stock, then there is not the expansion on the other side, or the thinking outside of the box that creates something new or revolutionary. And so we are offered yet again this dark moon this week to go inward, to gain that clarity, to know, like, and trust ourselves that much more, and to gift ourselves that little bit of time and space and rest so that we can have that next expansion through the moon. It's a really magical time. It's my favorite time. I always take 3 days off of work so that I can gift myself that time to vision and be in the energy of the dark moon in that way. And so whether you have the privilege of being able to take time off or not, you can still designate an hour for yourself or 15 minutes a day. There is opportunity if we choose. If we choose to make that a priority for us to receive that medicine. I hope that this message serves you well. I hope that you have everything that you need. And if developing a relationship with the moon is something that you're a little unfamiliar with, I really want to invite you into my Holy Boundaries 28-day email challenge. I based it on a lunar system, on one full moon cycle, to help those who choose to step into this program to really begin to feel that lunar way of living, to really begin to feel her, this deity in the sky, and how she influences our animal bodies, how she can be such a support to the way in which we structure our life, structure our tasks and our chores, how she can really influence us and teach us how to be in relationship with ourselves and with one another. That's just one little piece of what you receive in this email challenge. And if that feels exciting, if it feels delicious, I really want to invite you to check out the details. You can go in my bio and hit the link and read all about it. And if you have any questions, just hit me up in the DMs. I would love to answer them for you. And I would really love to have you in this program. I believe holy boundaries change everything. They allow us access to our power. They support us in communicating more cleanly and clearly. They help us to not take things so personally. And they give us the spaciousness inside of ourselves to make big life changes that we might never have thought possible without first having our own holy boundaries. So I hope that you have everything that you need. Enjoy this dark moon. I'll be sending out another video on dark moon this week so that you can have a little deeper dive. And until next time, take good care. Bye for now.